Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I'm prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gon' go get it. No kidding. Breaking down a switch in front of your building. Sitting on the steps, feeling no feelings. Last night it was a cold killing. You gotta keep the devil in his hole. But you know how it goes. I'm front line every time it's on. 100 pro flow, running shoot pro. 458 drop, playing bulletproof song. Every few shows, I just buy some new gold. Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Downtown Diamond District, jewelers like yo. Hustle, holla at me, I got Cubans on the low. Through the Cancun, smoking Cubans on the boat. Then dock that Tulum just to smoke. Look, listening to music at the Mayan ruins. True devotion on the bluest ocean. Cruising, my cultural influence, even revolution. I'm integrated vertically, y'all blew it. They tell me hustle, dumb it down, you might confuse them. This ain't that weirdo rap you motherfuckers choose to. I'm a urban legend.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope that you are enjoying your week. We are at the wind down point, Friday Junior. So I hope you are relaxed. Maybe have a beverage or two, a libation, getting ready for the weekend, and you are ready to get into these trending topics and headlines because, as always, there is a lot to get into. But before we get into all of that, make sure that you are following us on social media. Hit us up, KBLA 1580. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill everywhere. And if at any point tonight you want to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 800-920-1580. Chat with us. Let us know what you think. Of course, this audio experience is available on YouTube, so you could get the visual along with it. The chat is always lit in there, so come by, say hi, hello, hang out with us. We always love that. Now, let me give you a rundown on the topics that we're going to get into tonight. So if you are unaware, tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, on Netflix, Regina King has a new film dropping, Shirley. It is the backstory behind Shirley Chisholm's 1972 presidential nomination campaign. And she stars as Shirley Chisholm. Terrence Howard is also in it. Her sister, Regina, is in it as well. And Regina gave her first interview in discussing the death of her son, Ian, 2 years ago. And she talks about grief and where she's at with the process and walking through it. So I thought it was an important conversation, so we're going to get into that. Second hour, we're going to talk Cardi B. She has said that social media has women confused about relationships and money and the idea about 50-50. So it's sort of interesting hearing that come from Cardi B when you think about what she raps about. And I wonder, is it time to remind people that it's entertainment and this isn't the life that people live? Because there's so much confusion about what is fair, what is inbounds in a relationship. And Cardi's comments are interesting, so we're going to get into that. We're also going to get into a conversation that Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith had about Vice President Kamala Harris and why they believe she does not connect to people. So there's been a lot of conversation around that, of course, and these are two black men, obviously, adding to the conversation. So we're going to see what they have to say and get into that. Plus, of course, more trending topics and headlines. So before we get into all of that, you know that I always like to start the night with a few conversation starters. These are topics, things that we don't have time to get into the full story, but we want to, make sure that you are aware of what's going on. So, first up, we know that Allen Iverson is getting a statue in Philadelphia. It will be unveiled, I believe, later in April before the season is up. So, coming along on the heels of that, because you know what Jordan started in 2020 with The Last Dance, an Allen Iverson documentary is in development, and it is being produced by the production companies of Steph Curry and Shaquille O'Neal. So, AI says that he is ready to tell his story his way, authentic and unapologetically. And he looks forward to people seeing a side of him that they haven't before. It's interesting. I feel like when that 96 draft, when Iverson came in the league, when Kobe came into the league, there's a couple of others because it is the 84 draft, the 96 draft, the 2003 draft, and then I forgot which one could be comparable later on. I don't know if there really is, but those are the big three. And if you think about 96, that's an interesting year because we're not quite digital yet, but it's the rise of the internet, right? We are seeing Stuart Scott on SportsCenter drop more hip hop references and things of that nature. And AI's career was already starting to be documented from college with what happened to him when he was in high school, when he was jailed. We have seen, some specials on him, some in between. And of course, some of it will be new to some people. There's always something that's going to be revealed. But do we really feel like at this point, there are things, again, within reason, there are things that we don't know about AI and his journey to the NBA and sort of where he was through it. I'm not saying I don't want to see it. I definitely want to see it. But the idea that we don't know everything, but we got the gist, not in a disrespectful way. I just wonder what they're going to pull out that, especially in the era of so many athlete podcasts, and not only are, the athletes the hosts, they are also the guests. So we've seen AI make his rounds on quite a few podcasts. He sat down for a few interviews on TV as well. And there have been some things that are revealed. So I just wonder, is it going to be the big reveal that we all expect? Because The Last Dance was different. It was a time that wasn't really highlighted and covered, but we'll talk about all of that and more on the other side. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, this is just a FYI, a reminder. I do have a RSVP announcement that is coming later on tonight, probably the end of this hour, maybe an hour or two. So, stay tuned for that. Just wanted to let you know that. Now, let's get into these topics. Apparently, Bobbi Althoff, you know her. She is the dry podcaster that had a run for a minute with a lot of hip hop artists, and then there was some backlash. People were saying she was an industry plant. Really kind of started with her interview with Drake, where people really took notice of her. Well, according to the Daily Mail, Drake recently had a party, and Bobbi came to the party, presumably with some friends, just there. And she was asked to leave by the organizers of the event, basically because of whatever the situation that ended up ultimately happening with her and Drake, which we don't know about. It resulted in her deleting the interview with him off of social media. They both unfollowed each other. We know that Bobbi's husband recently filed for divorce from her. So not really sure what's going on there, what happened, but it's definitely beef if, like, it's a party. I understand, but at the same time, like, let it rock out. You actually had her removed. So something went on with that. I'm sure that we'll get details at some point. But yeah, Drake is not playing any games. He was like, and out of the way, please. Out the door. So, shout out to Drake, still on tour. Listen, somebody else that is going through, I guess, relationship withdrawal situations, if you can even call it that, a business relationship. Reportedly, in Adidas announced their, annual report. So they've just recently completed or are completing first quarter. I'm not sure if they're announcing first quarter or last quarter. I believe it's probably first quarter of this year. At any rate, they are reporting their first annual loss in over 3 decades, citing challenges in the good old US of A and the fallout from severing ties with Kanye West and its impact on Yeezy sales. They have a new CEO there, and he said the company is focusing on clearing inventory and boosting other product lines. But despite all of that, they are projected to have an additional 5% sales drop in the U.S. this upcoming year. I should say North America, because they're including Canada in that as well. Adidas also plans to improve their core business, excluding Yeezys, in the latter half of this year, and they anticipate a strong recovery in China. But listen, the impact of getting rid of Kanye West, now we kind of understand to a degree why the new CEO was like, I don't think Kanye really meant what he said, and trying to figure something out, because it is impacting their bottom line probably way more than they anticipated. I'm sure they anticipated some loss, but not in the way that the fans have said, no way, we are sticking it out and riding it out for Ye. Um, Undoubtedly. I don't know. And Ye continues to stay on their head. He recently put out a video claiming that they are putting out fake Yeezys because they are dropping colorways and situations, things that he claims, well, obviously the business ties are severed, but styles that he didn't authorize, colorways that he didn't approve of. And so, therefore, he says that they are fake. Good luck, Ye. Okay, so as I mentioned, Regina King is starring as Shirley Chisholm, who was a trailblazer on the political scene. She was the first black congresswoman, I believe. Or was it senator? I'm jacking that up. One of the two. But you can check out the Netflix film. It is really informative, gives you a lot of information about the delegates and some of the political chess moves that went on during that time period and things that she was exposed to. But as part of that press tour, Regina sat down with Good Morning America host Robin Roberts, and they had a conversation about the death of her son, Ian Alexander Jr., and grief and what it looks like for her to walk through that process. So let's hear what she had to say, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Comes to depression, that people expect it to look a certain way, and they expect it to look heavy, and people expect that
it's okay.
To have to experience this and not be able to have the time to just sit with Ian's choice, which I respect and understand, you know, that he didn't want to be here anymore. And that's a hard thing for other people to receive, because they did not live our experience, did not live Ian's journey.
I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that you said it was his choice and that you recognize that.
I was so angry with God, you know, that why would that weight be given to Ian? You know, of all of the things that we had gone through with the therapy, with psychiatrists and programs, and Ian was like, I'm tired of talking, Mom. My favorite thing about myself is being Ian's mom. And I can't say that with a smile, with tears, with all of the emotion that comes with that. I can't do that if I did not respect the journey.
Their close bond,
So,
always on full display.
That is obviously really, really powerful, really, really emotional. First of all, much love and respect to Regina King, because a parent should never have to bury their child. It is a very difficult situation. It is a different type of grief, I think. We expect the natural process to some degree. Not that it doesn't hurt any less of, you know, perhaps losing our parents or our grandparents, you know, or older relatives. But when it comes to children and perhaps siblings, those type of things tend to impact a little differently. And, you know, as she said, he was her only son. It occurred a few days after her birthday. And I think that it is really brave to reconcile and understand, you know, the choice that he had to make and the conversations that she has to have with herself in order to move past that pain. I thought it was really important when she said grief is love, grief is a journey, grief is love that has no place to go, because, you know, we don't discuss what happens we know that people learn to fill these spaces up and move ahead, but it's an uncomfortable conversation, even if you aren't the one experiencing it. So I hope that her opening that up does help someone and bring comfort to someone. And I mean, she's very strong and very brave, obviously, uh, to go through that and then to come back and to work and go through all the things that she is obviously going to. She said in there something very important, that she will never be the same person that she was before the situation happened. And I think we have to recognize and honor that, you know, there is a level that is going to always be changed. And no one probably knows how to fix it. You can't imagine what you would do in that scenario, even if you walk yourself through it, just because it is pretty impactful and pretty deep. So we are sending much, much love and support to Regina. The complete interview with Robin, I believe, airs tomorrow. So there's more topics, not just the sadness. She will discuss her role in producing the film and the journey that she has been on. So make sure that you are locked in to check that out, because we love Regina King. Shout out to the LA native right here down the street, Windsor Hills. So big ups to her. That's a big thing to say. But really, really super love and support to her. It's a hard thing. Speaking of, Oscar winning supporting actresses, because there's only 10, and we know that one just entered into the ranks this past Sunday with Davine Joy Randolph, who won for The Leftovers. Yeah, I believe that's the name of the film. Uh, she was talking about in a recent interview that took place right after she won her Oscar, where she wants to go next in her career and what she hopes to do. And she said that she will always pay tribute, honor, and uplift and be a part of Black storytelling, but that she feels the need to infiltrate and get into spaces where we're not. She says that I want to be in a West Adams movie just because. I want to be in a David O. Russell movie just because. The Coen brothers, I believe they did Fargo. David O. Russell, is it Twin Peaks maybe? Can't remember. But these are filmmakers that traditionally are obviously the ones that she mentioned, white males, and their casts and films predominantly involve white individuals. But she is saying she wants to cross those barriers. And obviously, the film that she won her Oscar for should open up those doors to that. But is there a feeling 20, 30 years ago, saying something like that would be viewed by some as selling out? The irony is that it probably would have in this time too, but 20 years before that, part of that was the goal, to get there, to get the acceptance, to get the integration, you know? And it's so interesting how the pendulum swings as we move forward. And so she went on to say, I've never seen us there in these movies, as I mentioned, with predominantly white casts. Excuse me, because that's where I think I can really bring about educating and creating real change. If we just stay over here by ourselves, nothing is going to change. And, she's right. Experience brings for a greater appreciation for things, a broader view, the ability to appreciate all sides, open up to different things. But are some looking at it as she is abandoning her roots? Initially, when Davine got into entertainment, she wanted to be an opera singer. She wanted to do music. And she mentioned that her mother saw something in her and told her, no, you need to be on the stage. She got her breakout role playing the psychic role Oda Mae Brown in a 2012 version of Ghost the Musical, which earned her a Tony nomination. The irony in that is the role in film that Whoopi Goldberg also one of the only in that small group of 10 black women that have received best supporting Oscar Academy Awards. That was the role that Whoopi Goldberg won her Academy Award for. So some synergy there. And then we saw her in Dolomite Is My Name, The Lost City. We know that she was going up against some Hollywood heavyweights in both of those projects, Eddie Murphy and Sandra Bullock. And she was also in the series that, I'm sorry, not the series, the film, Sanaa Latham's directorial debut, The Come Up. And she just has a range of characters that she's put out there. She was in the, what was it? It was a remake TV series. I believe Zoe Kravitz starred in it. Oh, I'm blanking on the name of it. She also had a role on there, which was really good. I'll look up the name for it. So I love the diversity in the roles that she picks. And she's right. She can go in very many areas. But do we think that fans are going to be taken aback or rubbed the wrong way by her open desire to infiltrate, as she put it, these different spaces? I don't know. We'll have to see. Right now, we are loving her. We're loving what she's giving. The Holdovers, my bad. That's what the film is called, The Holdovers, right? And her role in that film, if you haven't seen it or you're not aware, was one, a deep one. Again, we've seen her do comedy. We've seen her do drama. We've seen her do serious roles. She also had a role as the manager in the Weekends show that came on HBO for a very brief time, The Idol. She was excellent in that as well. But in The Holdovers, she played a mother who was dealing with the loss of her only son who was killed in the Vietnam War. I thought that that was ironic in giving that. We were also talking about Regina King this hour, who lost her only son and is also a Best Supporting Actress Academy Award winner. So there's a lot of fibers that connect these women together. And I do want to see, us step out and do other things. And I want to see in our Black storytelling different types of stories. And I believe that we have. I think the trope and the idea that we only have, murder, kill, drug dealing shows is a bit overreach. I think that that is a leftover trope for the 90s. But I do understand that a lot of the ones that are really popular with us involve some of that. But there are equally a lot of other things, projects, situations that involve none of that. And I think that it is time that we pay service to those things as well, because they are equally important. And it kind of diminishes them to just wash everything down with, all we do is murder, kill. Listen, when we come forward on the other side, we will have more trending topics, more headlines. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
You ain't living down by the street code. Been through all these motions up and down like a seesaw. I can never view you as my equal. Fuck, I wanna hear your CD fault.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tyreek Wayne. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A former member of a longtime funk band that had its greatest success in the early 80s has reportedly died. TMZ reports former Gap band member Anthony Baby Gap Walker died as a result of complications from a neck surgery, stating that Walker's brother confirmed the news. Walker joined the Gap band around the time of the group's biggest hits, including Burn Rubber, Party Train, and You Dropped the Bomb on Me. Walker later joined Gap X, which is comprised of former Gap members. Gap X posted a tribute to Walker on their Instagram page. Walker was 60 years old. Megan Thee Stallion is gearing up for a tour this summer. On Wednesday, the rapper announced the Hot Girl Summer Tour, which kicks off in May. Although she hasn't shared the official dates, she did say she'll be hitting New York City, Chicago, Atlanta, and Phoenix, among other cities. Megan said the official dates will be announced soon. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
On a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible, tell me, can you ever stop? 'Cause I need somebody who will stand by me through the good times and bad times. He would always be right there. Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain?
I'm in here doing my New Edition steps.
Storms will come. This we know for sure. This we know for sure. Can you stand the rain?
Welcome back in. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. New Edition is, and you know I'm gonna say it every time New Edition comes up, the best R&B group of all time. They are, and they have many children that they birthed. And we're gonna talk about one of their sons right now. He did a free concert last night in Los Angeles, and he was joined on stage by his former group members. Justin Timberlake did a free concert at the Wiltern Theater last night, Wednesday night, here in LA. And his group members, NSYNC, came and joined him on stage and performed some of their biggest hits. They even performed a new song called Paradise. If you weren't aware, JT has a new album that is dropping this week. It is called Everything I Thought It Was. It's going to be his 6th studio album. He also, let me tell you, Justin is working hard to get the fans on his side. He also had another special guest that popped up and performed with him at the concert last night, one Coco Jones. If you have an opportunity, check out their duet. Coco sounded amazing. She looked incredible. And, shout out to him for recognizing that he needed some female energy in the mix and some female R&B energy in the mix, because we know Justin and his situation with Britney has been under fire since Britney dropped her memoir last, October and November, as well as, it's been continuously screw JT for a lot of people since the situation with Janet Jackson and the Super Bowl. Even though Janet said, leave him be, I've moved on, don't trip, I got this, because I'm a Jackson, and what? So, yeah, shout out to New Edition always, and their children. Andy?
And for the fellas, are y'all really still mad at Justin Timberlake for that? I'm just saying, are y'all really mad?
Was it really got, I feel like it's more people defending Janet because of what happened. And, people, too, they just want to hold on to something. Janet bounced back. She's fine. It happened. It was messed up. She dealt with it.
I'm just saying, I know, considering what happened for the fellas.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Are y'all really mad at Justin Timberlake? This is history.
Because that's what launched YouTube. That moment.
Really?
Blew YouTube up because it... Excuse me, it was during the, DVR, TiVo back then. So it was the most DVR'd moment in history. And then that, along with, I believe it was Jennifer Lopez in the green Versace dress at the Grammys, that dress launched Google Images or something like that. And people looking for the Janet footage from the Super Bowl in that moment, YouTube became a place. It was a thing. So it is one of the things that really was a launching pad for YouTube. So there you go. Random facts in history. I'm full of those things. I know y'all love it. Random as heck. Okay. So on Monday, we talked about Drea and that she is pregnant by Houston Rockets star Jalen Green, 22 years old. Jalen's been on a tear since, she dropped that. He's been playing like, I'm tired of y'all talking about my baby's mama. Respect it. But Drea was not alone with her pregnancy announcement. And oh, by the way, a pregnancy announcement by someone who has a child by a rapper, 2 rappers, actually. And now she is adding an NFL player to the baby daddy collection, much like infinity rings in Thanos' glove, if you're an Avengers fan, Marvel fan. So it seems, so social media said. Joy Chavez has announced that she is pregnant by Trayvon Diggs, baby debuting soon, Trayvon Diggs of the Dallas Cowboys. His older brother is Stephon Diggs, who I think Stephon's currently with the Buffalo Bills. They said he might be headed elsewhere, but Joy is 35, Trayvon is 25, so there's that age gap thing, the conversation that has been burning up social media for the last few days. Also, Joy has a daughter, Shy, by Bow Wow, and she has a son, I can't remember the son's name, by rapper Future. And so that means that her son by Future is also the half-brother of Sierra's son with Future, in addition to all the other things. I'm going to tell you what, again, I do it. And now Trayvon Diggs and Future and Bow Wow are all, have children that have siblings with one another. Oh, there's one more twist to add to this, right? Because, I love giving you guys the details. Remember we talked about Yasmin Lopez the other night, who has a son with Christian Woods from the Los Angeles Lakers. She hopped over his fence recently and keyed his car. Yasmin, her older son, is by Trayvon Diggs. So that means that that means that Yasmin's oldest son and Joy's new baby are going to be siblings. Listen, y'all got to slow down because you're not keeping up with the charts, and there's going to be a lot of sister, baby, cousin, uncle, brothers coming from this situation. We got to cool down, right? Listen, date who you want, do the things you want. If you want to procreate, cool. But think about it. Really think about it. Maybe it's just a good time, right? And not for life. Because the intermingling is getting a little crazy at this point. When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines and another pregnancy announcement, because that's what it is. It's spring, baby. It's spring. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers!
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So I mentioned that Joy has a new baby on the way with Dallas Cowboys Trayvon Diggs. Cash Doll, the rapper, Detroit Doll, formerly of BMF, she has also announced her second pregnancy. So the babies are bountiful this spring. They are popping up, and we love that. We are happy to see it. Shout out to Adam Milan in the chat. He's in Illinois, so peace to the KBLA family. We appreciate you locking in. And this seems like a good moment to share with you guys. Listen. RSVP with Jill Munroe debuted here on KBLA last June 20th, I believe, actually, Juneteenth. And it has been so amazing to be able to come here and grow and learn and share with you guys and connect with you guys. But what I am letting you know that is, unfortunately, due to some personal things that are going on in my life, tonight is going to be my last show. I'm Andy. Andy's always on point and always will be, always on theme. I want to say, first of all, I want to take the time to appreciate everybody that has rocked with me in this space, tapped in with me. If you were introduced to me because of KBLA, I really appreciate it. I appreciate how you opened your arms to me. I appreciate how everyone at the station has been welcoming of me. I appreciate Mr. Tavis Smiley for giving me this opportunity and putting this together for you. And shout out to Robin Ayers, because obviously that is how I was first introduced to many of you. And if you were introduced to KBLA because of me, keep rocking with the station, because they have a lot in store for you. You know, the motto doesn't change, but I wanted to let you guys know I didn't want anything to be misconstrued or that there was anything but love here. This has been an amazing experience for me, and everyone here has been so supportive, and I want to say thank you for that. So I wanted to let you guys know, obviously, I am at Stiletto Jill everywhere, so hit me up, and we don't know what the future will hold, but I wanted to make sure to let you guys know, and I appreciate y'all. Okay? Okay, now let's get back to these trending topics and headlines, because they absolutely do not stop. All right, you guys know that I am a huge Power fan, right? I've been watching since 2014 when it debuted. We're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the original Power this June, when it used to air on Saturday nights on Stars, and it was just this little show. And now here we are all of these years later. We talked about last night that a spinoff is coming, Origins, that's going to focus on young Tommy and young Ghost. Well, today they dropped the trailer for the upcoming season of Power Book 2 Ghost, one of my favorites, along with announcing that it will be the final season. It's going to come in 2 parts, so technically you're kind of getting seasons 4 and 5, but it's really one long season 4. You're going to get 10 episodes dropping June 6th, and then it's going to come back in September with 10 more. I am going to tell you one. When I heard that they were dropping the Origin series, basically based on a conversation that the new head of Stars had talked about a few weeks prior, I knew that one of these shows from the original Power spinoff, the first generation of it, was going to be canceled. And we'll talk about why in a second. But I am also going to tell you that I am not completely convinced that in those last 10 episodes of season 4, there isn't a backdoor pilot buried in that for another spinoff. Something tells me that that is something that we could see happen. Now, the reason why I bring up the new CEO of Stars is because there was an interview that he did not too long ago where he talked about the difference and what happens in TV shows when they go from season 3 basically to seasons 4 and 5. He said when seasons go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, 3 to 4 to 5, season 4 is where the cost really pops because most of the actors get bigger raises and you really have to manage that. So you have to have in your portfolio of development shows that can actually replace these shows as they get into later seasons. So one of the things that he said is, as you turn the slate over to go from seasons 4 to 5, economics season by season start to kick in. You can pull a ton of cost out of the business. What you have to do is map out each one of those shows and what the curve looks like and know where you have to pop in a new show and what to do to bring the cost down. And so far, he said that they have a pretty good map of what that looks like. So basically, if they continue to pull out characters from the Power universe and spin them off, they can continue the feeling and the emotion and the familiarity with some of these characters, but not have to pay the big salaries and the big salary bump that comes along with later seasons. If you remember, 50 has been talking about quite a bit the salary that he got Mary J. Blige for Raising Kanan, Ghost, for Ghost. And he mentioned that it was north of $400,000 an episode. Ghost is also a very expensive show to produce based on the wardrobe. They do a lot of designer in that show, a lot of pieces in and of that. And so, you know, it's expensive and it's coming to the end of the road. I'm going to tell you, and again, I have no intel on this. There's no reason for me to think this other than what I see sort of in the plots and plans. I think that a spinoff could happen with Effie, the character of Effie. Don't know if that'll happen. We don't know what kind of journey she's going to go on in this extended season 4. But that is something that I think might be in the works for the future. So we will have to see how it all rolls out. And speaking of, you know, back in the day and recounting memories, Lil Mama was on a recent interview and she discussed about dealing with the embarrassment from the 2009 Grammys when she walked out. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Grammys, it was the VMAs. When she walked out on stage when Jay-Z and Alicia King Alicia Keys were performing Empire State of Mind. We all know that was a classic moment. She took a lot of flack for it. She became a meme. It is 2024. As I mentioned, that happened 15 years ago. It is still referenced. She said that she took a career hit a little bit because of it, and she said really she was just feeling the moment. She didn't feel disrespectful. We've heard the story time and time again. She was just caught up. I'm not gonna lie. When it happened in that moment, I was like, what the heck is she doing? Even if she was feeling the moment, I was just like, you can't think it's okay for you to go up there, right? But at the same time, the beating that she took pre-social media, I suppose Twitter was just getting started in 2009. Facebook was alive and well. I guess we were doing the slow fade off of MySpace, maybe. But social media was just getting started, and it still haunted her and took her everywhere. Well, in this recent interview, she said that in her mind, she felt like Jay-Z should have called her at some point. And what are you saying, Andy? She feels like because she was a young girl and she took a lot of heat and he just kind of left her out there to twist. He didn't call her to say, oh, it's okay, don't worry it, that he just said nothing. And my question is, should she really have, I understand to a degree, you're saying, okay, maybe he could have reached out to say, hey, it's not that bad, baby. But realistically, did you really expect him to reach out? I kind of don't understand that. Do you, Andy?
I'm with you. What about Alicia Keys?
I think she said Alicia Keys may have reached out or they may have had a conversation at some point later. But
I'm sorry, little mama. Take that L. Take that L. You know what I mean? Because you're an artist. You were a artist even at that time. And feeling the moment or not, there was thousands of people that probably felt that moment, but they didn't decide to walk on stage. When people do that, when fans do that, they get escorted out. So you're lucky that didn't even happen.
True. And she didn't have a relationship with either one of the artists where it made sense for her to jump up there and be in that moment.
And on the clip that I seen, I don't know who she was with, but I could see that they were trying to prevent her from going on stage.
No, Beyonce,
that
she
was
was
Beyonce doing that.
Beyonce was in the audience. Beyonce was like, "Where you going?" What's
she was
happening?
like, "Little ma, I'm sorry."
I feel
Take
this.
that L.
She said that Tyrese called her on the phone being funny, saying, "You ain't tell me you was performing." Listen, when we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about Cardi B. She did $1 million worth of game podcast, and she says that you ladies on social media, you have it all twisted about this money relationship 50-50 on the bills conversation. We're going to get into that, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
All the days won't be perfect, but shawty, can you stand it? Can you stand the rain? Can you stand no pressure from me, baby.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Wayne. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network.